go. Hello, everybody. My name is Zerduku, and welcome. Don't press that button. Um,
I wasn't even doing anything.
Hello, my name is Zerduku, and welcome back to Zap Entertainment. I hope you're enjoying these books, and hopefully the audio in this one is pretty good too.
Yeah, apologies about the last one. We got too
Now,
eager
my
for. Okay, you go.
now my sister Okori was gonna read this one, but she had to go. So unfortunately, this one's left to the gun kid. Unfortunately, the gun kid is basically numb to cuteness, so I apologize.
Okay, stop right there. Stop putting slander. Sheesh.
Slander.
Yeah, I love cute things. I like Evie.
To be fair, that is adorable, but your reaction for the adorableness is really not very good. No offense.
Well, I'm gonna get a whole fucking thing. The way you, how can you react to cuteness when there's always gonna be gore next to cuteness?
You know what? Just minimize and just start the fucking
All
book.
right, all right. Again, apologize for the video that will come afterwards. It involves me for the audio failure. We got too ahead of ourselves. We failed to double check audio. We just got too eager to read these books.
Yeah, I was super hyper, and I was a super hyper. I was kind of like having a long day.
Long day, long month, long week. Yeah. All right, folks. Get ready for this. I may not know the whole plot, subplot. He did give me a crash course.
I got a quick one rundown, but
So
trust me,
if
trust me when I say the one down wasn't very good. But actually, I'll tell you guys just in case if you don't know. Quick rundown. Fluffy the strange creature that nobody knows where it is. And now at this point, there was a bully named Jesse who got hurt. And then after that, Fluffy's landed in Joyce's arms, and that's where it left off.
all right, we're gonna begin this trial down to hell. Just to make sure. Yep, we are recording. Just want to make sure that was some stupid fucking. All right, Fluffy the Strange, Season 1, Book 2. There's no rating. Written by Zach Sally.
Well, usually anything that's under like rated R, or usually I don't put a rating. I would say PG-13.
Around 11:20 a.m., the sounds of a familiar little girl's shortness of breath is heard in the visual. The little girl's legs then pass by the visual. They pass by the camera, I guess, and
Yes,
through the
that's a
clearness.
fancy way of saying camera because it would be weird to say camera in a book. So that's why I just say visual.
This is like some weird script. All right, and through the clearness of the visual, we can see that it's Joyce carrying Fluffy out of the wilderness as she runs from school. Joyce runs about 30 yards away from the school. We don't know anything about measurement.
No.
Trust me, the last book, 17 inches. Holy hell. The guy's legally considered an elephant. And then comes across a old abandoned garage. She runs inside the old garage without hesitation and puts Fluffy in the middle of the building. Please stay here, Fluffy. I'll go back to school and try to explain this mess. Please, said Joyce as she pats Fluffy on the head and then starts to run towards the exit. Before she leaves, she presses a button on the wall, which closes the door, locking Fluffy inside the garage. Lil?
Loyal?
Don't expect me to do this. I'm
Okay.
exhausted.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to do the sound effect per se.
Since you'll do them.
Just cue the sound effect with like pointing to me.
Yes. Fluffy responds with confusion as it is plunged into darkness of the garage. Then Joyce runs as fast as she can back to school. Meanwhile, back at school, the ambulance has been called to take Jess to the hospital. Crack. As a result, there's 2 police officers and 3 doctors at the school, placing her in the ambulance. Jess's friends are watching in fear as they can see her friend was wrapped up all in bandages and put into the ambulance. In the distance, among a group of confused students, Isaac looks over the situation with disappointment on his face. What the hell happened to Jess? Asked one of the students. Did she get caught up in some sort of explosion? Asked another student. I heard a wild animal got inside the school and attacked Jess. Another student seemingly started to spread rumors. Another student seemingly started to spread rumors. At the same time, two police officers are questioning the principal on what happened. We would like you to fill out a report on what happened here today, ma'am, explained the officer. You can expect my report by tomorrow, but will she be okay? Asked the principal with seriousness. According to the doctors, she has a fractured skull and may be unconscious for several days. Maybe in coma for several days, explained the officers.
Well, yeah, coma.
At the same time, Joyce arrived at school and she can see the carnage. As an
immediate fucking response. Okay, that's strike one for this book.
when strike two hits, we're gonna go for round 6.
Okay.
Oh, don't okay me.
What are you, freaking Medea? Can I get a Hitler?
Oh, you didn't know. Hello. He doesn't know how to fight fair.
It's self-defense. This motherfucker keeps beating me up.
Make
Fucking dare. Alrighty, go ahead. Back to the book. What are you, frickin' dang Bugs Bunny? Don't shoot me, I have many families.
Hey, what's up, Doc?
Shut up, Bugs Bunny! Alright, back to the book.
Alright, enough shenanigans, folks. For now. She stopped by with shock and fear. All of a sudden, someone grabbed her by the shoulders. She quickly turned to see the science teacher of school. You brought this monster into our school, and now you have to prepare for the consequences. I don't know. It's the consequences of my actions. I don't fucking care. The science teacher. Oh, this might be fucking Crocker.
No.
Thank Christ.
Not even close.
At least I didn't see him try to dissect a student.
No.
Alright. Said the science teacher said with a stern voice. Immediately, Joyce smacked the science teacher out hands away. Fluffy is not a monster, shouted Joyce with anger. As it
Immediate fucking response. Strike two.
Oh, I should be in WWE for this point. I'm gonna suplex this fucker.
Just don't break my desk.
I'll break you.
Wow, what an asshole.
You hired me. The science teacher takes a deep breath and pushes up his glasses back. How many times in every story, like, how far up do these fuckers' heads go?
That was only one time in this book. Good lord.
Yes, but you always have this fucking back on the nose and look back at the car. Like, why do you always this fucking push it up to his nose? Well, I see. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
You need to calm down, bruh.
Please, someone give me crack. Alright, where the fuck am I? Eyes. Alright, back at the car. Pushes his nose up. Yeah, it's late at night, folks, so I'm fucking groggy as hell. The police officer in the ambulance drove away from the school towards the hospital. Then how do you explain this? Said the science teacher, pointing towards the scene. I don't know. Joyce responded.
I don't know.
Responded, staring at a broken window where Jas went flying through, with tears starting to fall from her eyes. 3 minutes later, Isaac and Joyce are called to the principal's office to discuss the situation. They are now both seated in wooden seats in front of the principal's desk, with the principal sitting behind it. Well, of course he's sitting fucking behind it.
I was trying to give an image.
Too much detail.
Damn it.
Alright. I don't know what happened, but Jess is now in the hospital with severe injuries. I want you two to tell me exactly what happened here today, shouted the principal. Started Joyce, but she was interrupted by her brother before she could say anything. A white animal broke into school and attacked Jess while my sister and a few other girls were having a conversation.
So you fucking lied.
That sounds logical. Never mind, said Spock. Said Isaac with a cold, logic voice, giving the principal a serious, serious, unbreakable look. With a serious look. Why unbreakable?
Uh,
Who cares?
it's almost, yeah. It was basically just showing that he ain't backing down for this one.
He's steadfast.
Yeah.
I need to give you a fucking dictionary. Immediately, Joyce was shocked from what her brother said.
Well, at least it was ain't an immediate fucking response. But anyways,
Oh, just wait. Just you fucking wait. We're just only page 5. There's gonna be plenty of them. Are you sure
probably.
that's the truth? Asked the principal. Asked the principal, giving Isaac a serious look. The two looked at each other, trying to see if the other would break first. You two can go home now, but I'll be writing a note to your parents. Fuck it, sure, why not? A kid was almost murdered. Fuck it, write a note. I'll fucking. All the adults in this universe are still stupid, said the principal as she reluctantly leans back in her chair. After that, Joyce and Isaac left the principal's office. Back in the garage, Fluffy breaks the window. You can't even listen to a single fucking order! Oh, you fucking. Well, hell, you know, fucking kid. From the second floor and jumps off the roof while inhaling some air to float. It is. Folks, if you are a patron of this channel, then you have seen him saying, Fluffy is not Kirby. He is not giving me best evidence to dispute the fact that it is Kirby, but altered. Shut it!
Okay.
And here's you.
Oh. Fee!
Shouted Fluffy as he waves his tiny little arms at the visual. You need to fix your words. Whatever. After that, Fluffy proceeds to run down the hill with happiness, filled with ignorance and bliss. I give up. However, Fluffy loses control of his tiny arms and rolls down the hill. Fluffy rolls to a downward slope and goes flying off it, and he lands into the meadow of flowers. With a sad face of unexpected pain, he stands up to take a moment to look at all the flowers. He puts his hand on his chin while trying to with a thinking gesture.
No, it's Fluffy's big adventure.
I don't care. I'm dead. But within a second, he smiles from what he sees. He smiles from what he sees in flowers. All of a sudden, a butterfly gets Fluffy's attention by flying past his head. With happiness and with innocence.
You follow the butterfly, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fuck's my drink?
That's your drink right there.
Oh.
You want me to get you something else to drink? Since that's probably empty.
It's still goodly full. Alright. He chases the butterfly around the flowery meadow. Eventually, after chasing the butterfly for only a few seconds, he stops at a river. Fluffy looks at the river with confusion. He knows several rocks that lead to the other side and immediately smiles. Oh, thank fucking God, not your response. Fluffy jumps from rock to rock, and on the 6th rock, he almost falls into the water, but he manages to catch his balance. Fluffy takes a sigh of relief, but is somewhat startled by a fish jumping over his head, and he was able to catch his balance before falling into the water. After another sigh of relief, he jumps over the 2 rocks, making it to the other
side.
Makes it to the other side. Yes, this words are so long. There's no fucking spaces whatsoever.
Yeah.
This is pure action moment.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like reading these.
Okay, so my editors were like, "Oh God, this is forever, man," and as a result, they tried to split it up a little bit. But
on the other side of the river,
I don't see that though. Interestingly,
Fluffy can see before him a tall hill. Without even thinking about it, Fluffy strolls his way up the hill. Once he arrives at the summit of the hill, there's a cliff there that goes straight down into the pit of darkness. Fluffy looks straight down at the pit with a hint of confusion. Then He looks straight ahead to see there's another hill on the other side. On the other side of the hill, there seems to be remnants of a bridge that once existed, and on top of the hill is a tree. Fluffy decides to inhale some more air and starts floating to the other side like a balloon. You aren't helping your case whatsoever.
Here we go again.
He lives in ignorance. Cope. However, on the other side of the cliff, the tree on the tree is a bee's nest. As Fluffy gets closer and closer to the other side, the bees start to become more and more agitated for some reason. As a result, Fluffy starts to get stung by bees, not all at once, not all at once, but one by one, and the bees just fucking die. Trying to maintain his balloon form, Fluffy does his best to ignore the pain. As a result, he goes 6 feet. He got nearly 6 feet away from his destination when suddenly the bees start to swarm and form a cloud that started to attack Fluffy. As a result, Fluffy released a deathly cloud of air, seemingly to kill a bunch of. This reminds me of the fucking Kirby game. Where the fuck am I? Kill a bunch of keys and hit the bottom of a cliff, which which blew into a small crater onto the stone wall. The burst of wind from the Fluffy made him go up into the air for at least 10 feet, but he suck
Succumb to gravity.
succumbed to gravity. Why is there B? Succumb, whatever, to gravity and started to fall. Even though the blast of the wind killed a small amount of bees, they were still attacking Fluffy as fucking eyes.
Sorry, man.
As he seemingly falls to his doom. As he was falling, he put on an angry face and decided to open up his mouth to expose a black hole in his stomach. I give up. It's Kirby. Fuck it.
It is not Kirby.
I'm gonna show you Kirby.
Okay. Can you pause the video for 1 second?
All right, we're back. All right. Black hole of his stomach. As a result, the bees were consumed by the black hole's gravitational force. Of that extra air within Fluffy, he then used his legs and arms to bounce his balloon-like body up into the air. Then he releases the bees with a blast. Send them into the pit of darkness. Then Fluffy did a backflip into the air, bringing him closer to the bee's nest. As he passes the nest, he swallows it and turns around, releasing it down into the pit of darkness, killing the bees. Fluffy then lands on the other side of the cliff. He lets out a deep sigh of relief from the situation. Completely forgetting about the situation, Fluffy continues to walk down the path. Running through the dark path with ignorance and happiness, or stupidity. I'm not seeing any intelligent thoughts in this thing's head. Fluffy is unaware that he is being watched by a pack of ferocious dogs. The dogs are a bunch of strays that past people used to own within the town of Applewood and have since abandoned. The dogs are being led by a large bulldog. Ever since being abandoned, they have killed and eaten domesticated cats and attacked random children within the town. The strays have become uncontrollable wild animals. The dogs look at Fluffy with some sort of unknown malevolence. As Fluffy runs down the path of happiness, without care, I'm not fixing any more grammar. His happiness begins to fade when he begins to slow down. Eventually, he stops when he realizes he's surrounded by a pack of ferocious dogs. Fluffy looks around, has a look of concern on his face, and he puts his hands on his chin looking at the ferocious dogs. As his dogs start to growl and bark at him, Fluffy begins to back away from the situation.
Okay, so he
Seemingly
has a little bit of intelligence.
doesn't make up. It's all negative
So are you.
because I really don't like these. Seeming to be filled with fear, Fluffy tries to run away, but the dogs chase after him. Fluffy tries to run as fast as he can, but the bulldogs come up to the side. Pause.
Pause. Oh, how far did you go?
Not that
My
far.
okay.
All right. He got hit by the Fluffy tried to run away, but he was slammed in the side by the bulldog's large muscular body, causing him to bounce right into the middle of a pack of Roach's dogs. As a result, the different dogs start biting Fluffy's little arms and feet, trying to pull him apart. But he was able to stay in one piece. The One Piece.
The One Piece is real.
Can we get much up? Due to his durable body, sadly, he still felt pain from bit and being bit and being pulled into several different directions. Fluffy managed to summon a little bit of strength to pull one of the dogs to, to pull one of the dogs from the inside of its mouth and slam one of the dogs into one another, which causes them to let go of him. As soon as he was able to stand up and regain his composure, the bulldog immediately tackled him, knocking him 10 feet in the air. I actually want to do. Can you find my phone? I want to see how high 10 feet in the air is.
Now ready?
Alright. We're tagging him, knocking him 10 feet in the air. Then he rolled around twice. After that, the dog starts to growl, baring its fangs as they approach Fluffy. Fluffy stands up and puts on an angry battle face. He starts running as fast as he can to punch one of the dogs in so hard it makes it go flying across the field. Then Fluffy turns around and kicks the other dog, causing it to whimper, and goes flying into the other dogs. The dogs get up from the ferocious attack as if it was nothing. Running out of options in the situation, Fluffy yet again opens his mouth to expose a black hole within his stomach. Caught by surprise, many of the dogs were consumed by the black hole and were disintegrated by its intense gravity. With only 3 dogs remaining, they dig their claws into the ground, trying not to be consumed by the intense gravitational force. Realizing the dogs weren't going to let go of the ground, Fluffy closed his mouth, trapping tons of deadly air within his stomach. The dogs look around with confusion, not knowing what the hell just happened. All of a sudden, Fluffy releases a burst of wind that makes the dogs go flying into the sky, out of sight, becoming stars for a few seconds.
Team Rocket is splashing off again. Bing.
Copyright claim. After
Damn it.
that, Fluffy swipes the sweat off his head. Fluffy then continues down the path, stopped at a dark forest, where he looks at the dark forest for a moment and seems to think about it. But with a quick response, Fluffy smiles with happiness as he walks into the dark forest. You were told to stay in the garage, and what do?
Level 2.
And what do? You go and fight God himself. I don't even fucking know at this point.
It's Fluffy's Big Adventure.
Who the fuck? Whoever wrote this was on crack. The first
I
thing.
don't do crack, nor do I drink.
Then your brain's on crack. It's on its own supply.
What the? That doesn't make any sense. Well, you don't. Well, you don't make sense. So now it makes sense.
I'm about to find different job opportunities at this point.
The
The first thing that Fluffy does when he enters the dark woods is he jumps onto a little hill, like a platform, that leads him to a tree branch. Then he jumps and grabs the tree branches, flipping over on top of them with his feet. Then he proceeds to jump from tree branch to tree branch to near all the good thing there's only like 12 pages left. Alright, branch to near the top of all the trees. He quickly grabs a vine and swings to another tree. When he lands on another tree branch, he looks down to see a bunch of thorns bushes below. Fluffy looks at the thorn bushes with concern and confusion. Who the fuck cares? Then he looks around to see a bunch of tree branches to jump on. Fluffy inhales a little bit to go into his balloon state. As a result, bounces his way to the obstacle. However, he was unable to hold his air very long, so he exhaled and landed on a tree branch. Fluffy takes a moment to catch his breath, but suddenly a bunch of strange black birds start attacking him for no reason. Because why the fuck not? Why not just abuse every character? Because wanna know why? I don't fucking know. The birds have black feathers and are glowing red eyes. Of fucking course. Alright. With sharp malice beaks, the birds start pecking at Fluffy for a little bit before deciding to jump to the next branch, trying to get away from the birds. By jumping to the left, then to the right. To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right. Fucking music.
Song.
Yes. I'm glad you know it. If you didn't, I'll have to slap you silly.
I heard that song from somewheres, but I don't remember.
He manages to evade the birds for a while. The birds scatter in different directions, trying to find him within the dark woods. Fluffy started to make his way down by jumping to different tree branches, and below he could see the opening away from the thorn bushes. Within only a couple minutes, Fluffy manages to make his way down to the opening, and lets out a sigh of relief from the obstacle. However, he hears a bunch of flapping noises around him. Fluffy opens his eyes and looks around to see as a swarm of those strange black birds are birds. With a concerned frown on his face, the birds begin to gather and attack him by pecking him repeatedly. Yet again, after enduring some pain, Fluffy gets angry and begins to use his black hole ability. Yes? The ability with his stomach. As a result, he begins to swallow a group of birds. However, some of the birds try to fight the gravitational force by flying in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, that only delayed the inevitable, and eventually became consumed by the black hole. After Fluffy finished all the killer birds, he takes a few deep breaths and has a look of exhaustion on his face. As a result, Fluffy wanders a few steps within the dark forest. Fluffy only wanders in dark forest about 60 feet away from his last location, where he was fighting the birds. He leans against a tree and then sits down trying to rest his eyes. Little does he know, within the trees are two giant nightmarish bugs approach him while he's sleeping. Unable to completely fall asleep, Fluffy blinks his eyes and can see the giant cockroach monster in front of him, about to attack with their long, sharp arms. And as a
Fucking response. Finally, that took a while, actually.
Where the fuck am I? Me fucking response. Fluffy only rolled out away from a deadly attack as the cockroach monster miss and penetrates the ground with their sharp appendages. Fluffy stands up and turns around with an angry look to see giant cockroaches crawling out of the trees onto the ground, approaching him with malicious intent. Getting extremely annoyed with the constant attacks, Fluffy wastes no time to release his black hole ability to finish the monsters quickly. Taken by surprise by the unexpected attack, the cockroaches try to flee the battlefield, but one of them gets sucked into the vortex. Then Fluffy launches one of the bugs at the other, making the cockroaches go flying off into the dark woods, starting to become another star.
Ping!
Alright, where the fuck am I? Another star for a few seconds. After that, Fluffy has another look of exhaustion, and only takes 2 steps before he notices something beyond the trees. He can see a house within 20 feet away from him, from his exact location. The house is a 2-story Victorian building with a black iron gate surrounding the square premise. The color of the paint of the house is unknown because the building is so old that the paint is peeled off as green moss is growing all around the house, surrounded by an iron gate. There seems to be a number of rows filled with bushes to consume the iron fence. Oddly enough, the windows seem to be intact, but the whole place has a spooky, ominous feel to it. Fluffy looks at this scary building for a moment with a sense of confusion, and immediately gets chills up his back just by looking at the place. Immediately, he nods his head no. He nods his head no. All right, should have been shake, but I'm not changing it. And just walks away from the building, pretending that it doesn't exist. Fluffy's flat ears flapping down, or flip down. Extremely tired, just wanting to go and get some sleep. As he walks down the path away from the house, the sound of a pogo stick approaches his position. Hearing the sound, Fluffy stops to see what's heading for him. Bouncing towards his position is a strange-looking monster that stops in his tracks, staring at Fluffy. Before he appears to be what looks to be a pogo stick wrapped in a black umbrella like cloth. Ugh. And a strange head of a clown wearing a hat with bells. The creature has strings on for string-like arms, glove-like hands, and sharp fingernails made of metal. Fluffy and the monster seem to stare at each other for a few minutes. Fluffy stares into the monster's yellow eyes. The monster's yellow hypnotic eyes with confusion, not knowing what he's looking at. The monster's facial expression seems to be frozen in some sort of chaotic smile exposed with teeth, as the creature doesn't know what he's looking at either. After staring at each other for a moment, the clown, like pogo stick, recoiled like spring-like arm, and wrapped his fingers into fists. Fluffy tilts his head with confusion and ignorance. The monster releases the spring and punches Fluffy in the face, which causes him to fly into the darkness.
Oh. No!
I'm not even feeling sympathetic because his dumbass wanted this little adventure. You're told to stay still. What you do? Break out a window. Going to go fight some fucking devil.
It was his destiny.
Shut the fuck up, Oogway.
There are no accidents.
Yes, there is. Screams Fluffy as he disappears into the starlight beyond the dark woods. The pogo stick monster laughs maniacally and then jumps away from the battlefield. At the same time, Fluffy slams into an apple tree, and one of the apples lands on his head, causing him to faint. Meanwhile, in Applewood General Hospital, Jess lies in a hospital bed with bandages around her face and is hooked up to a modern machine. Modern machine?
Yeah. Lack of knowledge.
Life support machine.
Lack of knowledge of doctor stuff.
This is why you need to watch some, do some research, please.
Yeah, my last research on Japanese stuff didn't go very well, so I said fuck research and just do it myself.
And that explains why it's all trash. Alright.
You.
With permission from the doctors, a boy wearing a karate outfit brings Jess some roses and sets them on a table next to her. I know you probably don't know me, Jess, but I promise you that I will get revenge on whoever did this to you, whispered the Karate Kid. After school, alright, 14, so it must be like 8 left. Or, yes, 8. Alright, after school, at the twilight hour, Joyce and Isaac are making their way home. Isaac has a look of seriousness while walking home with Jess. Jess has a look of sadness. Has a sad look on her face, with feeling of concern. For a moment, she stops in her tracks and looks back towards the school, thinking about what happened today. She turns around and follows Isaac. Why did you lie to the teacher today? Joyce asked, her voice near a whisper.
Immediate fucking response.
Both Isaac and Joyce stop walking. This is not the first time I had to cover for you. It's your stupidity. Snapped Isaac. Turn around to look at Joyce with with an angry face. But why? Asked Joyce with hesitation and sadness. Maybe because you're my sister. However, I'm not too sure how many times I can cover for you. One of these days, you're going to dig your grave so deep, not even not even gods themselves can save you. Isaac responded with seriousness. Joyce has no idea how to respond, so she just looked down at the ground. However, both of them were interrupted by someone speaking. Unfortunately, that time has already come, shouted a little boy's voice. Immediately, both Jess and Isaac looked to see a boy with a karate costume. The boy had slightly spiky black hair, and brown eyes. Who are you? Asked Joyce with ignorance. Asked Joyce in extreme confusion, but whoever. That's Jack Coy.
KO.
Jack K.O. There's a TV show that has a K.O. Alright. Of the karate class, said Isaac with a non-emotional tone. That's right. I'm the school's number one black belt. And I'm here to take revenge for beautiful Jess. Oh, what a chivalrous night. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. And
Immediate fucking response.
for you, shouted the Karate Kid before known as Jack. And as the
An immediate fucking response.
I'm going for
Joyce,
alliterative.
Joyce.
Joyce was terrified, but then Isaac stood between the two of them. If you want to beat people up just because we can, then we're nothing more than wild animals," said Isaac, with no emotion, with absolutely no emotion. As a response, Jack grabbed Isaac by his shirt and slammed him against a concrete wall. Then, with terrifying speed, he punches the concrete wall next to Isaac's head. The stone wall crumbled behind Isaac, leaving him in shock with surprise. But that's impossible. Who fuck cares?
Wow, you're basically.
I am numb to your books because I don't like it. I don't care anymore. I've been also so late. It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. We're kind of unfortunately, their audience. We're trying to finish this quickly because.
And I have two more books to read tomorrow, audience.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And they're all 34 pages. Stuttered Isaac with fear. Tell me what happened at school today. A school is supposed to be a safe place for students. Look at the past books I've read. No book has ever had a safe school in it.
Oops. It is their destiny. By the way, it's not Oogway. That would be the
Don't
dragon
care.
from Merlin.
This would be a safe place for kids. Safe. I don't fucking care. I'm no longer mostly invested in your stories because I just have to leave now. The kids are going to be in peril and there's nothing I can do. But with Jess's supposed accident, it feels like a war zone is about to start. Asked Jack with absolute anger in his heart. Jess attacked my pet Fluffy, and after that, things just got out of control. My pet nearly killed Jess, and I feel bad. And of course, this right here. Yep, this. I'm about to quit. I'm about to seek early retirement at the retirement home. Alright, Joyce explained with guilt in her heart. As a immediate response, Jack let go of Isaac and walked up to Jess. What kind of moron brings a dangerous animal to school? Asked Jack, looking at Jess with anger. I'm not stupid, I'm cute. That's the difference.
There's a difference.
You are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Everyone here is stupid. There's no intelligence. Intelligence is dead, and we killed it.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I think us Americans killed intelligence a long time
No.
ago. Yes, we did.
No, we did not.
Anyways, back to the book.
Your philosophy makes no sense. Alright, Joyce responded, looking like she's about to cry because she was intimidated by Jack's hatred. My sister may be stupid, but does not mean she deserves to be bullied. And here comes the next word. Alright, said Isaac, getting Jack's attention. As a immediate response, Jack looked at Isaac. Jack turned his head from brother to sister, seemingly thinking about the situation. Isaac seems to stand up with no emotion, but Joyce is terrified and about to cry. Well, you know this. If one of you morons brings that monster back to school, I'll be the one. I'll be one to smite it. Mark my words. This is a promise,
Yeah,
shouted Jack.
that feels like an anime reference.
And an old man says, Will you shut up? People are trying to sleep.
uh,
Name the reference.
oh, that was a reference to something.
Yep,
Huh, that's weird.
shouted Jack. After that, he walked away from the scene while Isaac and Joyce watched him. Watch him. After he is out of sight, the siblings continue their walk home, trying to forget about the situation. That night, Isaac was sitting in his bedroom thinking about what happened early at school. The question is that Joyce asked Joyce asked Joyce the question that asked Jack asked played over and over in his head, in his mind, as he lay down in bed with the full moon illuminating his bedroom, despite the fact that Isaac and Joyce immediately arrived home after nothing else scary or life-threatening had happened. But Isaac can't escape the feeling that something bad was going to happen. With heaven. As a result, he tosses and turns in his bed before sitting up. With a heavy sigh, he looked out the window, pondering of what to do. Isaac came to a conclusion that if Fluffy is allowed to roam free, then Fluffy could do more damage by tomorrow. As a result, he decides to sneak out of his house and capture Fluffy, then lock him away. He stood up from his bed and emptied his backpack. Then he grabbed a flashlight, some pieces of an old shirt that he could rip into rags, a lighter, and a bag of chips. Fuck, I don't care. That's one hell of a weird survival guide. I don't fucking know. My eyes. He also grabbed the only two extra batteries for his flashlight he had left. Then he snuck downstairs and grabbed an animal cage that was in the basement before sneaking out of the window of his second floor bedroom. He climbed down the water pipe, and snuck away from the house with nobody noticing. And Isaac proceeds in dark woods, looking for Fluffy with his flashlight flashlight on, going from left to right, illuminating the darkness. The sounds of crickets and owls in the night add to the creepy atmosphere as he continues to walk through the woods. The creepy atmosphere of the night doesn't seem to affect Isaac at all as he presses on, going through the woods trying to find Fluffy. As Isaac walks through the woods, he notices a bunch of strange hills around him, indicating remnants of ruins. He was aware that the history of this town says that many parts of this many parts of it have become ruined because of in the past. Applewood was abandoned due to the lack of gold in mines. Nowadays, most of the entrances of mines are unknown to the residents of Applewood. Four more. All right, Applewood. But many of old Western houses are left behind in ruins. As a matter of fact, many of them are in such disarray that all of what left of the piles of rubble, all left are piles of rubble that have been taken over by moss and tree roots. Within a half an hour of searching, Isaac gets tired of carrying a small cage with him and decides to put it next to the ruins to give him a break. Well, I hope I remember that I put the cage here, Isaac whispered to himself. After that, Isaac turned the flashlight right for a flashlight, looking down the path. Then, following his instincts, he decides to go down the path. Then Isaac continues on the path, looking through the dark woods, but at the same time, making sure he doesn't get too far from the cage, so he doesn't forget where he put it. All of a sudden, Isaac hears a few heavy footsteps within the dark woods. As a immediate fucking response, this is a keyword 6 immediate responses. 6.
I actually had realized that not only immediate response is used a lot in my stories, but also like there was another word that I noticed that you didn't even notice that was being used a lot. And it's like as a response was used a lot.
I stopped giving a fuck immediately.
Yeah, I don't even. It's. I guess it's just because I don't know how to explain certain things that happen, like that whole thing with the dogs thing earlier. Now, what I was visualizing in my head was when the dog had his arm, like in his mouth. Fluffy just pulled him over and just throw him into the other dogs. But I didn't know how to describe that in words.
Sometimes you put too much detail and too little detail. Isaac hid behind a tree and turn on a flashlight. As Isaac peeks behind a tree, he can see in the distance a miner's headlamp move along in the darkness. He can see a large shadow of a man walking through the woods with the shadow of his pickaxe. With curiosity and fear, Isaac waits for the stranger to turn around and go the other way. When he does, then Isaac tries to get a bit closer. All right, just 3 more pages. Isaac tries to get closer to see by sneaking up on the spooky miner. Isaac gets close enough to see the stranger walking around the woods. Isaac, yet again, is hidden behind the trees, but the stranger is only a few feet away. Yet again, Isaac peeks behind the tree to get a look at the stranger. When what Isaac sees is absolutely terrifies him. It looks like an old miner, but his face is all gray with yellow glowing energy throughout his body, and his clothes seem to be covered in some kind of mud. His eyes are glow. His eyes glow in the dark, but with some sort of malevolent. Everything's evil in this universe. Malevolent intent. The miner's head. The miner's head off. The miner. The miner's head fell off its shoulders. No, fuck eyes. The miner heads off to the west in in a sort of circular motion, as if he was patrolling. When the miner is far away enough, Isaac decides to head back for the cage. So he slowly sneaks away, and when he thinks he's finally where he wouldn't make any sound to alert the miner, he starts running. Meanwhile, Fluffy finally wakes up from being knocked out by a Pogo Ghost. Fluffy stands up, and an apple fell off. The apple falls off his head and lands in front of him. With joy on his face, Fluffy eats the apple. After
No,
enjoy, yes, after eating the delicious fruit, Fluffy looks looks to the right, then to the left, realizing it is nighttime. As a result, Fluffy puts his head hand on his chin and tilts his head with confusion. Repetitive. However, something gets Fluffy's attention. He looks off into the distance and picks up a familiar presence. Realizing that he wasn't alone in the woods, Fluffy decides to head towards the presence. At the same time, Isaac makes it back to the cage, back to where he left the cage. Isaac picks up the cage and not wanting to alert the spooky miner, Isaac puts away his flashlight. After that, Isaac turns around to take a few steps towards the forward, but he steps on a twig, making noise. At first, it scares him a little, but because he's afraid that he might alert the miner, but Isaac takes a sigh of relief, ensuring himself that that he is too far away from the miner to notice his presence. However, Isaac begins to hear heavy footsteps behind him. Isaac turns around slowly with fear, then realizes the miner is now chasing him. Immediately, Isaac screams, drops the cage, and runs for his life deeper into the dark woods. Isaac runs away for a good minute before he accidentally trips over some tree branches. while trying to land. Try while laying on the ground. Isaac rolls over to see at his impending doom as the miner closing in on him, begins to swing his pickaxe. But all of a sudden, Fluffy comes out of nowhere and kicks the miner in the face, knocking him to the ground. And then Fluffy lands right in front of Isaac. Fluffy asks Isaac,
I gotta see this. No, I.
"This?
Yes.
It's L."
No, I.
There you go," said Fluffy with happiness and innocence, while turning around to look at Isaac. Before Isaac can celebrate, he hears the miner stand up behind Fluffy, and as a result, he screams and runs away. Fluffy just looks at Isaac with confusion, but not seeing the threat behind him. The killer miner swings his pickaxe, causing Fluffy to go flying into a tree, bounce off back into a tree, and bounce back at the miner. But the miner just bitch slaps. That's your first swear word here. Slaps Fluffy out. Bitch slaps Fluffy out of the sky, out of the way. The miner slowly, sinisterly walks towards Isaac while he was cowering behind a tree. But Fluffy yet again stands in the middle of the miner's way. With complete frustration, the miner just kicks Fluffy in the face, yet again bouncing him off the tree. But this time, the miner swings his pickaxe, trying to kill the creature known as Fluffy. But all it did was cause Fluffy to let out a little bit of pain. Fluffy bounces off the ground like a beach ball. Fluffy bounces off the ground 3 times before stopping. After that, the miner yet again tries to chase after Isaac, but this time Fluffy secures his feet on the ground and opens his mouth, exposing a black hole in order to attack the miner. The miner holds his helmet and squats down, trying to hold onto the ground. Isaac gets behind Fluffy, away from the funnel forming at the bear's feet, at the bear's mouth. Whatever. However, the miner started to feel himself getting pulled into the gravitational force, so he hits the ground with his pickaxe, adding additional grip, securing himself into the earth. At this moment, Isaac remembers hearing about how Fluffy transforms at school, and at one point, as a result, Isaac pulls a lighter out of his bag. Still tell me this is pure Kirby. I don't give a fuck. He has ability. Fire Fluffy. It's Kirby. It's just borderline Kirby. Just fan made and more adult. Alright. And it begins to wonder if the rumors was true. Isaac took the risk and threw the lighter into the funnel. As a result, the lighter was pulled into the gravitational force and caused Fluffy to swallow the lighter. After that, a gust of wind stopped. Miner stood up, looking impressed. Fluffy then twisted into the sky. Both the Isaac and Miner are blinded by a light illuminating the darkness in the dark woods. Within the light, Fluffy goes into a combat stance, and with a red sucker badge around Fluffy's hand, Fluffy puts it on his head and turns into a headband. This is just pure Kirby. I don't give a fuck anymore.
You're just so tired you don't even care.
Yes, and this is Kirby. Stop lying to yourself. This is Kirby's transformation into Fire Kirby. No matter how many lies you tell yourself, you always know the truth. Alright. For the headband, on top of Fluffy's head lights on fire. Fluffy's fur turns yellow as well. See, shouts Fluffy after transformation is over. Then Fluffy lands back on the ground, and then the darkness returns. After that, Isaac is amazed at what he saw during Fluffy's transformation. He cannot believe that the rumors were true. The miner, not Karen, takes a step forward, but Fluffy breathes fire onto the miner, scorching him until he bursts into flames. While on fire, the miner swings blindly at the air, but then Fluffy pulls his arms and legs into his body, then begins to roll, becoming a very hot fireball. The heat is so intense that the dirt beneath Fluffy begins to turn into glass, and Isaac begins to feel heat, so he steps away from Fluffy. Steps away before Fluffy launches a meteor, causing the Fluffy launched at the miner, causing the miner to explode into 1 million pieces. Holy shit! Shouts Isaac with amazement. Fluffy lands on the ground and is consumed by light. Fluffy returns to his normal form and now victorious. You,
Lyle?
says Fluffy as he turns around, ran up to Isaac, giving him a hug. Fluffy, did you just did you save me? Asked Isaac, not hugging Fluffy back. That's the end.
What'd you think of this one?
I really don't care at this point.
You're just too tired.
It's just Kirby. It's just pure Kirby.
Uh, Minor differences, but yeah, I can see why you just say it's a borderline Kirby. I
The
can kind of
transformation form, the balloon form, the language it speaks.
yeah, but first of all, Kirby is pink, not orange,
You just slapped some paint and gave it ears.
and gave it fur, which I'm not sure if Kirby actually has fur, so and has bigger eyes. His transformations are a little more elemental than Kirby's is. Kirby's transformations are just weird, plain and simple. But yeah, anyways, please like and subscribe. And this is Urjoku, and well, good night.